Long before Count Dracula swept his cape across Victorian literature, the specter of blood-drinking creatures haunted the collective consciousness of ancient civilizations. These primordial vampires, born from humanity's deepest fears and darkest imaginings, stalked through the folklore of cultures separated by vast oceans and millennia of time. Today, we journey into the shadows of history to uncover the terrifying origins of vampire mythology that predate Bram Stoker's famous creation by thousands of years. The earliest recorded vampire-like entities emerged from ancient Mesopotamia, where the Akkadian civilization spoke in hushed whispers of creatures called Ekimmu. These were the restless spirits of individuals who died violent deaths or were improperly buried. Unlike modern vampires, the Ekimmu possessed no physical form, yet they thirsted for the life force of the living. They would drain their victims not through fanged bites, but by stealing their breath during sleep, leaving behind desiccated corpses as evidence of their nocturnal feeding. Ancient Assyria contributed its own nightmare to this growing tapestry of terror through Lilith, a demoness whose legend would span millennia. Originally appearing in Mesopotamian texts around 2400 BCE, Lilith was described as a winged creature with talons who preyed upon pregnant women and newborn children. Her appetite was not merely for blood, but for the essence of new life itself. The terror she inspired was so profound that protective amulets bearing incantations against her were buried with the dead and hung in homes throughout the ancient Near East. Moving westward, ancient Greece produced the Empusa, shape-shifting demons commanded by the goddess Hecate. These creatures possessed the ability to transform into beautiful women, seducing young men before revealing their true nature and consuming their blood and flesh. The Greeks believed Empusa had bronze legs and could be identified by their mismatched feet, one resembling that of a goat, the other of bronze. This concept of deceptive beauty, masking monstrous hunger, would become a cornerstone of vampire mythology. The Roman Empire inherited and expanded upon these fears through the Strix, vampiric birds that could transform into human form. Ovid wrote of these creatures in his Metamorphoses, describing them as nocturnal predators that would enter homes through windows to feed upon the blood of infants. Roman mothers would perform elaborate protective rituals, marking doorways with hawthorn branches and reciting incantations to ward off these aerial vampires. Perhaps nowhere were vampire legends more systematically developed than in ancient India, where the Vetala held dominion over cremation grounds and abandoned places. These entities possessed corpses, animating them to walk among the living while maintaining an insatiable hunger for blood. The Vetala could speak, reason, and even bargain with humans, making them far more sophisticated than their European counterparts. Ancient Sanskrit texts describe elaborate rituals required to bind or banish these creatures, many involving complex geometric patterns and sacred fires. China contributed the Jiangshi, or hopping vampire, to this global phenomenon. These reanimated corpses, stiffened by rigor mortis, moved by hopping with arms outstretched. They possessed an uncontrollable thirst for the life essence of the living, which they would drain through breath rather than blood. Chinese folklore detailed specific methods for creating, controlling, and destroying these creatures, including the use of yellow paper talismans and mirrors to reflect their evil influence. The universality of vampire legends across disconnected ancient civilizations suggests something profound about human nature itself. These creatures embodied our primal fears of death, disease, and the unknown, while serving as cautionary tales about moral transgressions and proper burial rites. These ancient blood drinkers established the foundation upon which all subsequent vampire mythology would build, proving that long before Dracula donned his cape, humanity had already populated its nightmares with creatures that blur the line between life and death, forever thirsting in the darkness.